You're watching the award-winning programming service of Cablevision of Boston and Brookline, Cablevision 21.
Hi, I'm Stephen Mindich, and welcome to Conversations. I probably shouldn't introduce him this way, but his name is Tom Irwin. But no one knows him by either of those names. Rather, they know him and the listeners of WFNX, Morning Guy Tai. That's how he's simply known. And in the interest of full disclosure, although it's probably not much of a secret, after 11 years of being on the air, WFNX is part of the Phoenix Media Group, and so that makes me Ty's employer. I also want to make everyone aware that the reason Ty is here doing this show is because he asked me to do this show. He said, when am I going to be on your cable show? And so I said, what can I say? You want to do it? You're on. Why did you want to do this show?
Stephen, you can run, but you can't hide. I just thought I'd call your bluff and say, put me on TV.
See, you didn't think I'd do it, did you?
No, I didn't think you would.
Back down, back away.
I thought you would run for the hills.
Well, I don't run for much, and it is fun to have you here. And
thanks.
We'll see how much fun it is by the end of the show, whether you get a raise or canned or what.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Just by way of background, I should tell the folks that you've been with FNX since 1985.
Mm-hmm.
You moved here from Albany, New York, where you, according to the official bio you sent me, you did a morning talk show and an evening music show, one on an AM, one on an FM, and you came here to take this gig. You also graduated from Syracuse University, the Newhouse School of Communications, and so you've been hanging around this business for quite a while.
Yeah, I looked around in Albany and I said, what am I going to do? Who am I going to become? And it was pretty much one guy that I liked as a role model that I thought, you know, this guy is somebody I might want to be. And
but you didn't know me then, right?
No, not you. This was someone else.
Oh, this was sorry.
This was in far-off Albany, way across the Hudson River into the bosom of New York State. So anyway, I basically said, I can't stay here because there's nothing for me to become except this one guy, and what are the odds I can do that? I just didn't think I had many options, and my sister was at Boston College, and she kept raving on and on about the station. And I thought it was a great opportunity.
Which is amazing, because the station was only a couple of years old back in '85.
Oh, she knew about the day it went on the air, trust me.
You know, one of the things I thought about when you were going to be the guest was the station struggled for so long to find an audience, to find a place, a real voice in the community. In the last few years, we've been very fortunate. We've enjoyed some really excellent growth, some real success. Well, you've been here most of that time. You've been here, what, it's 9 years, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think accounts for that in the recent...
We got better at doing everything by learning, and we've had to fail and keep trying and succeed. Trial and error. I mean, it's been a long haul, and it has been tough. Each little thing that we knocked down on the way took time. It's a niche format, it's a boutique format, and it's something that big cities are now all getting, and becoming very successful with. But we led the pack, though, years ago. So.
As you kicked the format, as we tried to struggle, as you sat there every morning, I really wonder, how is it to get up that early? I mean, I must tell you, oftentimes I'm going to sleep, or used to be going to sleep.
What a night owl.
Well, there was the reverse side. I can't imagine having to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning. What time do you get up?
About 4:30. It's just something that you get used to. I don't know when it happened to me, but I used to like to watch late-night television when I was a kid, and when I went to college, I found myself in sort of a 24-hour environment. I really liked that. You know, I worked at a nightclub while I was at school, and I did a morning radio show. And I had to work a lot of overnight shifts when I first started working professionally. In Albany, I did some talk shows that were late at night. I did some rock and roll shows that were late at night. You know, I used to like to watch the sun come up, driving out to some mountain to watch the sun come up. I led a 24-hour lifestyle. And so I pretty much conquered the clock in the late 70s, early 80s. And so for me, It's just been, you know, it can wear you down. That's the thing. But the waking up at 4:30, whatever, some people wake up even earlier. It's not that bad.
I mean, you do some nighttime gigs.
Yeah.
You go out and do personal appearances and things like that. You need time to recoup from a series of those, or you just sort of spring up?
No, what I do is I think in terms of a week, not in terms of a day. Because if I think in terms of a day, I'm going to just explode. I can't do that. I have to think in terms of a whole week. And so in my mind, I may think on a Monday or a Tuesday, well, I know on Friday afternoon I can get a nice nap. And that's about the way I work. I work like 3 or 4 days ahead thinking I'm not going to have anything to do for a 5-hour stretch.
Do you plan your shows days in advance, a week? You look at the week, and how much is sort of day to day, day by day, as opposed to an overview?
Well, we can't get guests, as you well know, with the newspaper and with this show. You can't get people on a moment's notice. You have to plan that, and you have to have people make phone calls and do backup work behind the scenes so that you can get people there on time and let them know where the place is and all that and how long they're expected to be on for. But everything else, we go by whatever is on the menu for that day, and the TV and radio and newspapers pretty much call the shots over what we're going to talk about, whether it's the debate between the senatorial candidates or Haiti or the Middle East or the Persian Gulf.
Now, you like to do a lot of that stuff. You do a lot of politics, you do a lot of social commentary, you do some very serious things. I mean, serious in the sense of it's not all fun and games. I mean, you really... That's important to you personally?
Absolutely. I don't want it to be a stand-up comic gig, and I don't want it to be a jukebox. I think we're in a unique situation at FNX because we have a curious, interested, intelligent audience. And
how do you know that?
Well, we've been doing it for so long. I think the feedback is there, and certainly the ratings and the information that we get from the community, it all points to this little niche of treating our audience with respect and also thinking that they are interested. To me, that's the only thing that counts. They're curious, they're interested. They don't turn away from subjects, and rather they turn their ear to them.
So you started to say that our audience is particularly intelligent, so therefore you feel that they want to be and they can be, and you want them to be challenged?
Absolutely, and I don't like the inference by some people that it's because simply we have Harvard and MIT here and everybody is a doctorate or something. That's not true. It's the curiosity and the natural interest that people have goes from guys who are plumbers and have virtually no higher education after first or second year of high school, all the way to those people with degrees. I think the curiosity factor doesn't need a degree next to it or a fancy house or a big car or a big income. It's just something people have, and this community rewards that. I think people here are generally interested in a Celtics game and a museum exhibit.
You have to think about what you're going to talk about. Are you a naturally curious person? I mean, are you interested in those broad spectrum of things personally?
Yeah, and I think that's all it is Henry Santoro, of course, who does the news and information blocks. It's really just an outgrowth of our natural curiosity. He leans toward things like cooking and novels and performance art, things like that, and I lean toward other things. I think I'm way more interested in certain sports. He has no interest in them, and vice versa. We go back and forth, but I think it does carry a broad spectrum of interests. The arts, big interest of ours.
You have a lot of guests. We're going to talk about some of the guests you have on when we come back from this break, which will be in a moment. I'm Stephen Mindich. This is Conversations and Morning Guy Tai. We'll be back in a minute.
The Boston Department of Public Health. Our work for you includes preventing AIDS, decreasing infant mortality, childhood injury control, environmental protection, substance abuse prevention, and immunization outreach efforts, all carried out by your city health department. We're located in neighborhoods, schools, health centers, and our services are where the problems are. Our staff works in partnership with you in your language. The Boston Department of Public Health improves the health of communities.
Are you totally obsessed with your weight, diet, or exercise? Then let us help. We are the Massachusetts Eating Disorder Association, offering a variety of services for men and women. Our professional support groups include help for anorexia, bulimia, and compulsive overeating. We are conveniently located on the Green Line at 1162 Beacon Street in Brookline. If your mood is based solely on the number on a scale, then call 738-MEDA now for more information. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Stephen Mindich. Welcome back to Conversations, and our guest, Morning Guy Tai from WFNX FM. Tai, right before we took the break, I said I wanted to come back and talk about the guests. And you have a spectrum of guests. I mean, you have comedians, you've got politicians, you've got, I mean, Mort Sahl was on recently, so sort of a social commentator, although I guess a comedian or an author. Who's been the most exceptional guest you've had, in your opinion?
I think Jerry Brown was the most exceptional guest because at the time, you know, we didn't even really know if he would come in until pretty close to his arrival. He had done the Today Show at WBZ and scooted up there and was on with me for over an hour. And for him to give us that much time, it was just a few days before the New Hampshire primary. Now Jerry Brown is seen in a lot of different ways. Of course, he's his own talk show host now, and he's moved into a different category in the public's eye. But I mean, that time he was really a viable candidate.
Was he really viable? I mean, did you?
Yes, he was. He definitely was at that point. Like I said, it was just before New Hampshire.
Dial the 800 number and make your dollar pledge.
Yeah,
He was
right.
going to win the presidency.
No, I think he had a lot of good ideas, and I think he had a lot of ideas that also appealed to a young audience, especially.
You think he would have been better than Clinton?
As president?
Yeah.
I think he could have been better than Clinton. I don't know if he would have been better.
Well, tell me what the difference is between that and your head. Could have, would have.
Well, I think that Jerry Brown has a lot of decent ideas, and sometimes the way he brings them to the public and the way the press interprets them, they tend to break off from mainstream and seem sort of flimsy and crazy. But I don't think at the heart they're that insane, you know? Some of them are pretty much common sense. Downsizing government and changing the nature of government and changing the nature of the military-industrial complex and the lobbying and the nonsense that goes on in Washington, to me, is a positive thing, not a negative.
So Jerry Brown was really, what, important to you in the sense that he gave you his time, that he was a viable candidate? Give me your sense of yourself.
Also that he gave the audience the time, and that we were able to have callers phone in and challenge him. I'd say that the callers were, you know, probably 50-50. They were impressed and also skeptical, which I liked because I got to be a talk show host for a little stretch there. I had to monitor phone calls. I had to keep people going. I had to decide whether or not they had good questions. I had to try to package the thing and get it going and keep it going, and it's not easy. And as a student of talk radio, it was my biggest challenge, and I think it was my biggest success too.
In fact, you and I have had conversations over the course of time, that one of the things you'd really like to do is a significant talk show.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, that's all. I mean, this is not a bad issue. Why is that? I mean, is it that you think talk radio has great impact? Is it because you think you have something to say? What is it that drives you in that kind of radio?
Well, right now I think I'm doing it kind of on FNX in the mornings, but it is limited obviously to a morning thing.
Well, there's a much more
but someday
base of,
I can't do music forever. You know, I realize that. I can't do music forever.
Charles Lacudera does.
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything along the lines that I'd like to do. What he does would bore me. I couldn't be 56 years old, as he is, and do that. I just couldn't do it. I would be bored out of my mind having other people write jokes and people basically run a show and you be the ringmaster. It's fun and I guess it pays really well, but you know, it's not exactly what I want to do.
That's another issue that's interesting, is that you do all of, you're the producer of your own show.
Basically, not
to a point. To get you a producer, so...
no, you're not. You'll get it. It'll happen.
What I'm saying is, though, that most of the stuff between you and Henry is thought out and worked out, and the guests, and I mean, yes, you have interns and stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't that give you more control? Isn't that really, that's you and your reflection coming out?
It is, and it gives us more control, definitely. We are using certain people more and more that have better skills, but again, you don't want to just throw these opportunities off on somebody who can't cut it. You know, I'm not just going to throw something at someone, go do this, simply because I don't feel like doing it. If it has to be done right, a lot of times you have to do it yourself. But getting back to the talk show thing, as far as being a full-time host, I think the challenge of doing it day in, day out is something that I would look forward to years down the line. And it was funny, I met somebody in Los Angeles recently who is on a rock station during the week and actually does a talk show on the weekend at a different station. And I thought, that might be interesting. I have to ask my boss about that.
Well, that's sort of like what you did when you were in Albany.
Yes, even though it was owned by the same company, I would walk down the hall. And in fact, they questioned my loyalty. It was interesting. The people on the FM were like, why are you hanging around the people on the AM now? I said, well, I do a talk show down there. How can you do a talk show that's all older people and it's boring? I said, not my talk show, because I tried to keep it young and interesting.
Do you think our audience is cohesive enough to want a talk show?
No, not a pure talk show. I wouldn't want to do it. 1 in 10 is close to being a talk show, the gay and lesbian program on Monday nights.
We do on Monday nights, yeah.
But even so, that is surrounded with music and
interviews
often...
and...
Yeah, and it's very different also. You know, it's such a specialized program. But to do it Monday through Friday, I don't want to do a talk show right here at FNX. I want to use talk elements to just do good radio.
Talking about morning shows, there are a lot of morning shows. You're in the 6th major market in the country. It's a strong radio market, huge radio market. When you look around and you look at your competition, how do you see yourself in relation to them? What are you doing that's different? Is it your audience that's different that allows you to do it differently? Is it the management that allows you to do it differently? Because it is different.
Yeah, it's a different animal because, you know, we have combined elements from pre-existing formats to come up with something different in the morning. And that's not to say that the rest of the day is like that, because it's not. The rest of the day is an alternative rock station. But in the morning, we use elements from certain other shows and other broadcasting entities, and we have them in mind. We really do. We think about WBUR, and we think about the nature of that kind of radio. And we try to use some of the things. There is an intellectual slant to that, but there's not much humor there. So we're obviously different there. Is there any humor?
I was going to say not much.
Is there any humor in public radio?
You know, although I did get my start on BUR, so I have great fondness for it.
Well, I have great fondness for people who just come out and tell jokes. It's not enough for me. I'm too interested in other things, and I don't want to do one-liners. It just doesn't. It's not satisfying for me personally.
But you do good ones.
Now and then.
Yeah, every so often.
They're usually written by somebody else.
I even chuckle every so often. I'm driving into work and I'm chuckling because you said something that was funny.
Oh, those are the days.
Yeah, they're good days for you. We're going to take a break, one more break, and then we'll be back again. And I want to talk to you about some of the nationally famous radio personalities and what's with them. We'll be back with Morning Guy Tai from WFNX in a minute.
Hi, I'm Pastor William Dickerson of Greater Love Tabernacle in Boston. I invite you to join us during our family conference November 15th through the 18th at the Strand Theater in Dorchester. There'll be nightly workshops. Our guest speakers for the evening will be Bishop T.D. Jakes, Pastor Wiley Jackson, Pastor Carolyn Harrell, and Prophet Kevin Harris. There'll be special music by Karen Clark-Sheard of the Clark Sisters and Marvin Sapp of Commission. And the conference mass choir will be singing. Don't miss this great event.
The Golden Splendor Cultural Center is an adult daycare program that will provide 6 youth the opportunity to interact with 20 seniors in Boston's inner city. We envision a holistic approach to the care and support of seniors from all races, ethnicities, and linguistic backgrounds. Our center needs your continued support, and we'd like to thank those who participated in our recent golf fundraising event. For more information, please contact Bertha Flight.
Hi, welcome back to Conversations. I'm Stephen Mindich, and the guest is Tai. What kind of a name is Tai?
It's an emergency name that I had to use because there was another guy named Tom on the station.
So I actually thought, is it your initials?
Yeah, it is.
See, I was driving in and saying, what kind of name? I said, Tom A. Irwin.
Yes, it's true.
Figured it out. before we left for the break, I said I wanted to come back, and I want to talk about Imus. I want to talk about Howard Stern. Tell me your impressions about the success of these two guys. I suppose Rush Limbaugh comes into this.
Yeah, Rush is huge. He's on more stations, actually, by a lot.
But I actually sort of think of him as a very different kind of
How come?
gig. Well, because I think he's less of a, well, first of all, they're morning guys in most markets, Imus, and in fact, is this the only market that Stern is not
No, I think he's on another one at a weird time.
But basically he's a morning guy, as is Imus. And Rush is not a morning radio personality. He's a talk show host and a very clear political agenda, which I'm not sure that either Stern or Imus has, but I'm not really sure about it. Well,
no, I don't think they.
Talk to us.
I think they have an agenda to be successful, and that's about it. And I don't think they make any bones about that.
What accounts for Howard Stern's success? What accounts for his popularity?
Well, one thing I think is that he beat people like Tom Leykis to the idea of doing rock and roll talk radio by a number of years, taking it national. You know, I worked in Albany, New York alongside Tom Leykis, and both of us had this idea that we could do talk radio for younger people. He just started doing it sooner and better, frankly.
You think he's good?
Yeah, I think he's great in a lot of ways. I don't approve of some of the ways he does things because I just think...
You think humiliating people is a good thing you think of? I mean, it's one thing to be an iconoclast. Can't you carry that too far?
Yeah, you can. You can definitely carry it too far, and I think he does routinely. But I don't think that he always does, and I think he has a sense of humor that's pretty good. But again, I don't think the humiliation factor is necessary myself, personally, and I don't see it as any role model. Not for me. I think Imus is better, and it's funny because Imus just won the nationally syndicated host award over Howard Stern at the NAB conference.
Now, is Imus better because he's more contained in the sense that he doesn't go beyond that?
No,
point?
he goes beyond it. But he picks on the big ones. What's the point of picking on the little ones? I don't understand that. You know, we've had some people locally do that as well. I don't understand kicking people when they're down. That to me is revolting. I mean, I don't mind going after the big boys. I don't care if they're on the left or the right any day. But going after the average person and stuff and humiliating them, that to me is bogus.
But it gets ratings.
It can get ratings, yeah, but you know, if that's the be-all and end-all, I'm sorry, then I'd rather sell shoes or something. I'm not interested in that.
Imus is more clever.
Definitely. He's quicker, he's more experienced, and as he said in a recent interview, you know, Stern really picked up where he left off at one point and then took it a little bit further. But he wasn't a rock and roll host then, you know. Imus didn't have, he's older, and I don't think he had to be brought back to this rock and roll talk kind of thing.
Do you listen to Stern? Do you listen to Imus?
Sure, I listen to all of them, yeah.
Do you steal ideas? Do you think about things they're doing that you can incorporate into your style? Not necessarily mimicking them, but do they stimulate your own thinking for your own show?
Absolutely. Everything stimulates my thinking. You know, I listen to small radio stations in the middle of nowhere on a drive out in the country, and I listen to big stations in other cities when I go there. But I'm not particularly interested in stealing anything because you know, people can hear that. But I am, you know, I do get flags tripped when something rings in my head. Also, I look for confirmation. If I did something and then I hear them do it, I say, oh, I was right on that one.
You mentioned Leykis. He was in this market for a while and got crucified.
Not really.
Not really?
No, I don't think he really did. I think what happened was
what would you call crucifixion if what he got wasn't crucifixion? I'm just curious as to the definition.
There's a difference between crucifixion and media crucifixion. If a few people, and in this case 2 people, want to go after somebody and want to, you know, hammer away at whatever it is they're hammering away at, in spite of the truth, they can do that. You're
referring to the 2 gossip columnists at the Herald.
Exactly. I mean, they print what they want to print. They're not in the business to print the truth or what anybody feels is the truth. They're in the business to entertain people with comments about those in the spotlight, and that's what they did. And they could selectively leave out a lot of things, like the Tom is now heard on 100 stations coast to coast. He's on Westwood One, which handles only the best people in the business, and he's a gigantic success. They painted him as a huge failure, which is not true.
Well, then why did RKO let him go?
Well, whether RKO let him go or not is also a... the only people that know his deal...
So you're suggesting that he may have just said, I've had it with this town.
Well, like I said,
I mean, I'm not arguing. I don't know.
No, I think the only people who really know what happened are those people who negotiated with him, his agent, and Tom himself. That's really it. I mean, contracts are broken and things are changed. And the speculation is only speculation from the outside. Was somebody hired or fired or sacked or whatever in the eyes of the listeners or the viewers out there?
What's the worst thing about the business you're in?
The worst thing about the business, I mean, I think the worst thing is that some people still look down on radio and up at television so much. You know, sorry TV people, sorry, but it's true. Yes, I'm talking to you.
So you're talking about they don't respect radio yet?
No, they don't. I think a lot of people believe, for one reason or another, that radio is sort of this junior medium, and that television is, you know, the big one. And I don't like that.
But a guy like Rush Limbaugh made his name in radio.
Yeah, and then he does a little TV show.
Right.
So now he's a TV star.
So, I mean, is that what you really think? I mean, radio has changed from the days when,
oh, sure.
You know.
You know, it's not like it was in pre-World War II days.
Nor should it be.
No,
I mean,
and it's not, it comes and goes as far as being, one of the best things about Stern and Imus and Limbaugh is that they've put radio in such a spotlight. For that, I love them for that. Because they have brought back the magic of the bigness of the medium that could be there all along. It's people sort of forgot for a while.
Well, some people would suggest actually that radio has more impact today than it's ever had. That it reaches more people, that more people take, that there's more politics on radio, there's more political influences on radio. Mm-hmm. So I find your sensibility of it being less respected actually interesting.
Yeah, I just think that television has become so much a part of our lives. The baby boomers, it is so, I mean, people say all the time, this is one of my most hated expressions. There's a new song out and they'll say, have you seen the video? Well, you know what? I don't care about the video. It's a song. They wrote it on a guitar or a piano and they sing it with their vocal cords, and afterwards they make this video of it to try to promote the album and have you buy the album ultimately. The video is nothing more than a commercial for the album or the song. That's all it is. So for that to become more important than the song, to me, is insane.
Well, we only have about 30 seconds left. What's the best thing about the business?
The best thing about the business is it's a lot of fun, and I look forward to every show every day because there's always something different to discuss, and that's the beauty of it.
It's great to have a forum, isn't it? It's great to reach out and know that there are people out there that are listening to what you're saying and have some influence.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you said, let me do your show. It's been fun. It went fast.
I was a great guest after all.
I was a great guest, and you know what? I'm going to keep you. Thanks for being with us, Tai. Go home, get some sleep, and we'll listen to you in the morning.
Thanks.
This is Steve Mindich with Conversations. We'll be back with another guest real soon. Thank you for joining us.
Today, we must think about preventive health care, and the Harvard Street Neighborhood Health Center can help you. To set up an appointment with a doctor, dentist, or other health care specialist at the health center, dial this number, 825-3400, or stop by. We're located at 632 Blue Hill Avenue in Dorchester. Remember, Harvard Street Neighborhood Health Center for your entire family's health care needs.
So hopefully today I can give you a little bit of knowledge about baseball that can help you not only in baseball, but help you in your life. Oh, that's it. All right.